all. New stuff, eh? So here we go. This is Dust 514, the famous shooter of the space stuff. Anyway, so here we go. This is a new game mode. It's Acquisition, which in my day-to-day job means something quite different. But anyway, there we go. We are playing Acquisition game mode. We're going to talk about the new stuff. Overall thoughts, too long, didn't read, don't want to watch the whole video. Yeah, it's not bad. Little bit slow, frame rate seems to have dropped. I know everyone's saying it's faster, but I don't know, it's slower for me, and I can prove it because obviously I've got the ability to do FPS counters, etc. So this map probably wasn't, in fact this map was fine. We were playing the one with the bridge, that really slowed down. It was crazy. But otherwise, I think some interesting additions. Let's go through them. So, Acquisition game mode, it's kind of crap. It's nice to have a new game mode, so I'm not gonna mecturate all over it. Don't worry. But it's it's an interesting change. I tell you what would have been cool, and post in the comments if you agree. I think it would be better if it's not a 5-minute timer; it's a 1-minute timer, so that the point moves every minute. That would have been pretty awesome, right? I just thought, when you think about the game mode and you think about the problem with domination is, yeah, people just get their spam equipment, lock it down, blah, blah. Whereas, and still for 5 minutes, that's still, I mean, that's half the match, really. When you think about it, that could be half or a third of the match. So 5 minutes seems too long. There's probably a method in the madness of why it's 5 minutes, but for me, I actually thought it'd be interesting if it was like maybe erratic, maybe 30 seconds here, 20 seconds there, maybe 2 minutes somewhere. So you'd be like, oh my god, 2 minutes, and it's really difficult to defend bit. That would have been nice. So I think 5 minutes is just way too long because look, already they gave up. So you don't expect the most rip-roaring video we've ever done here. I think this is kind of the problem. With the general player base is that if you don't win, you give up. I'm the same. I mean, sometimes when you go into these proto squad stompy gangs, or up against them rather, there's not a lot you can do. So no matter how good you are, you can never really, you can't do a Rambo and turn the tides ever. Because the game mechanics aren't really set that way. So anyway, there we go. So Acquisition, good stuff. Kind of pointless. I don't actually think it's going to be played much. I think people will stick with Skirmish to practice for PC and Dom because you generally can stomp the crap out of someone. So I'm a bit disappointed that it probably wasn't the best game mode as it stands at the moment. But I think just reduce the timer to like a minute or two, maybe a minute, and you've got an interesting game mode. So all of a sudden the point goes behind the rocks there. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? And then all of a sudden you've got and it would give the dropship a purpose. So you'd actually have to use the dropship to get your infantry in place. Hello, and then it give your tanks a point because your tanks could be your vanguard. So your vanguard would attack the point before, and you'd start to blah blah blah. So to be honest, come on CCP, 5 minutes is crazy. It's just a mini dom. This is mini dom for God's sake, mini freaking dom. Okay, so that's obviously the new game mode. One of the things I do like is the meta level. You're probably wondering what the hell he's talking about. Well, meta levels are certainly starting to come into the game now. So if you go to your fittings screen, you'll see that your suit is assigned a number, and higher the number, the more of a tryhard you are. Post in the comment what your number is. I'll show you mine because mine is ultimate tryhard because this is an all proto suit. It's 78. Some of you are now going, oh my god. Yeah, 78. This is obviously proto everything. So, everything on this suit is proto everything. So, what is interesting, and the reason I mention it, and therefore it's interested of pros, is that actually because it's 78 means eventually there's going to be a condition where probably they'll lock the meta level down. So, you'll go into a game mode where they'll say, the maximum meta level you're allowed is 50, and then you have to, then you can't use certain suits. God, I hope that day comes soon. It's a really good direction. I'm actually quite trouser excited about it because this is what the game's always needed. And let me tell you why, because I played last night with Jolly and Stefan. I lasted 2 games before my controller was hurtling through the room in a majestic arc because they just kept putting us against. So we'd have like a massive group of randoms, and then they put us against, pretty much 2 times in a row, 2 different but very good proto stomping teams who used all officer gear. And it's like, well, okay, fair enough. The game should allow that. There should be this open choice of how deep you go, balls or just the shaft or the tip, and that should be part of what the game is. And I like that. I respect that, and I honour that. But I think there needs to be a way to just section people away from it. So, you know, I never play properly. I mean, look, this is all I do. I piss about with the plasma cannon and jump mods. That's it. So when you put me up against somebody in a, you know, a Retarty suit with full officer gear and officer guns, yeah, and plus they play every day for 8 hours, I'm not going to win that battle. So that seems to be what I'm doing. I'm not moaning. I'm not whining about it. I really actually don't give much of a poop about it. I think really I'm just interested in kind of keeping the balance there, because I think when you don't have balance, as Schley would say, you're going to have a bad time. And here we go. So look, the point has moved. One of their team was actually hoping it would be here, so he's been ready to catch it, and he didn't do a very good job of that. So we've now captured it, and we've pretty much won. That's it. Let me just break it down to you. If you capture the point twice in a row, you're done. Yeah, indeed. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be negative all the time, because I actually think there's some really good stuff coming through. The frame rate is definitely a problem. The graphics still look like it's Unreal Tournament 2004. I'm not even kidding with that. Seriously, I played that recently, and I'm like, wow, the textures in this 2004 game are better than Dust. And that could be just the limitation of the PS3. But, you know, again, all of these are they're trifling problems. They're not really anything that anybody has a control over, because they can't ship it to PC yet. They can't do anything from a hardware point of view. They've certainly not got the resources to rewrite the flipping engine. So, you know, I think the best thing they can be doing at the moment, which is what they certainly seem to be doing, is polish. And the meta levels are interesting. I think the simple fact of a new game mode is a wonderful welcome thing. I would love more. I'd love a last stand or something like that. I'd love a 1v1 or a 2v2. But again, these are all problems, because the commercial model relies on them paying for every connection open. So they can't really in this particular game, particularly because they don't host their own servers, they actually have to buy server space. So I believe, and yeah, the gateways, the gateway is through Tranquility, so that's why obviously that works. But then the actual server piece, this isn't Tranquility you're playing on now, this is hosted. I could be wrong, but certainly that's how I remember being told it worked. And I think the general point of how these round-based games work is that you want to try and close the connection as soon as possible, because you're paying for it. Bloody Cisco, eh? And I think the reality is that they don't want to make long-winded matches. They don't want to make too many different types of matches as well, because I think a lot of people have always said they wanted persistent world stuff, and at the moment the model doesn't allow that with third-party server software, or architecture rather. So it's interesting from that point of view. I don't know. Round-based games, they're a bit cliche now. Tell me a good round-based game other than Counter-Strike. Battlefield, maybe. I mean, obviously the thing with Battlefield though is that has its challenges as well. I think that's the reality of it. I just don't feel the kind of warm fuzzy feeling for round-based games as maybe once I did. I think they're pick up and play games. Maybe that's just my preference, switching to more kind of sandbox open world games like Eve and H1Z1, stuff like that. Who knows? But I think just generally, it's going to be an interesting time. I mean, I think that in terms of, if you ask me the honest question, could they have done this any better? The answer is no. It's bloody good. There's still issues with speed and stuff like that, but again, there's not a lot that can be done about that. It could just be my PS3. It could be a number of things. I feel for them. I actually am getting to the point in my old age now, and I'm not old, by the way, that I just get the impression that no matter what CCP does, people are going to hate them for it, and I think that's obviously a little unfair. The reality is that there's so much in this game that they could do, but I think the reality is that whereas before it was this lovely long list of things, now it's kind of just like a small cherry-picked list of, well, we maybe could do that. We can't do this, we can't do this, we just can't do this, but we could maybe do this. And I think that's really the prospect of gaming. People play games because of the wonder of what maybe one day the game could be, could do, could act like, and so on. And I think Dust has kind of been around for so long now that there isn't as much, what's the word? There's the horizon is not as far anymore. Okay, so there you go. I still love the game. It is fun. I really hope matchmaking matchmaking, oh my god, it's horrendous at the moment. Every match we got into was just, and let me explain. And I have no quantitative data to back this up, but let me just explain. For about the last 20 matches, it has felt like that horrible ring of steel around me that keeps me playing the same, what felt like 50 people is now reduced to about the same 30 people. And I would almost say that on one side or the other, there's pretty much the same people now. And I don't know how they've done that. I always thought that the matchmaking should be opened up and just let anybody play anybody, but no, it seems now that actually even if they have done that, the reality is that there's only the hardcore playing. And I can quantify this because if I talk to you, hello, how's my lovely subscriber, I can guarantee that almost all of you don't play this game anymore. Almost all of you, literally, almost all of you don't play this game anymore. You watch the videos because you used to, and you watch the videos because you enjoy, watching the game because you got some enjoyment from it, but you don't actually really want to play it anymore. And that's the telling point here. And I think the reality is that it's not that matchmaking necessarily has been broken or, messed about with. I think the reality is there's just not the people playing this anymore. And that makes me sad because really, oh my god, seriously, this game is fun. Look at this kind of chasing this dude thing here. That's fun. Look at this. Oh, it's cheeky fun. Cheeky fun. But again, there's so few of us doing this. And I mean it. Last night was just an eye-opener for me because it was just the same dudes over and over. And it just completely, it made me very sad. So there we go. That was acquisition mode. Fun, wasn't it? Blech. I don't know. It needs a shot in the arm. I think just making it a minute timer would be quite fun. It would just mean that you'd have these mobile groups of dropship pilots. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Carrying teams back and forward to the point, fighting for the point, taking it, holding it for a minute, then moving again. I just think that's amazing. You could have an issue where a minute's not long enough, and then you therefore can't get to it. So okay, make it a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and look at that. They all left. Everybody left. So yeah. So there we go. Overall rating, yeah, not bad. I think we'll keep looking at it, and it needs some work though. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time. Bye bye.